Hello, everyone. Welcome inside the real Red Earth production studio. I'm over here at the engineering board. I got the computer in front of me. Lauren took off on vacation, so I'm having to pull double duty today. That's the way it works, right? So you're seeing a little behind the scenes here, Mitch.
Yeah, you got a hat backwards, hat forwards, hat sideways today, I guess, huh? Wearing them all.
That's right. So thanks for tuning in. We do appreciate it. To Youth Baseball Talk, powered by Game 7 Baseball, Game7Baseball.com. Absolutely. Crying shame, man. We were out on Saturday. The rain came through on Friday. We were out on Saturday getting ready for the 14U. Had Team KC playing the recruits. It was a good ball game. We've flown through 3 innings, nothing. The pitchers were really throwing well. This is the Game 7 World Series, and boom. Oh my gosh. Play with 50, 60 mile an hour winds. I was just hoping we were able to salvage, we were able to cover up enough to where our equipment hung in there. Did lose a laptop. That was about it. Some power supplies. So I was thankful for that. Lord was good to me. And so positive things that way. But it's just a bummer because we were headed in, I think, for some really good baseball for that Saturday and Sunday. We were doing bracket play. And, it was going to be a lot of fun. I was going to go out. I went out even on Sunday to check the championship because they were able to get the fields in certain places going. I'll tell you what, man, I'm going to give a shout out to those guys at BMAC. They worked their heinies off, man. Those guys, and that's the thing. I know parents, I want to say this, parents, don't get upset. It's not the tournament director. They can only do as much as the I got to adjust my chair, sorry. They can only do as much as the complex allows.
Right.
And I'm not trying to speak out of turn, but I know Game 7 spent a lot of money on what we used to call diamond dry to get the fields playable and, to have that opportunity for these kids to play some baseball. And that's what it's about. So kudos to Game 7 for working hard and those guys at BMAC to try and get that tournament in. I know they had this one last week, the Ron Walker Memorial Tournament went off very well, so that was a positive. And and they were in Kentucky, so we'll catch up with Dave. I know they're finishing up their season, and we'll catch up with Dave Penning here not too much longer. But just wanted to say that shout out to the guys at Game 7 Baseball. As we'll be back with them again next year. We're gonna keep getting better, doing more things, and having some fun doing it. But as always, I'm joined here on Youth Baseball Talk by the big dog from the hitting zone, Mitch Thomas.
What's going on?
I'm sitting here looking like this.
Well, I'm sitting here looking like this, which is fresh and new. So I'm excited. We last week was 4th of July, and it's been crazy around my neck of the woods, updating the facility, getting it ready to go. And then we started having tryouts. I'm not sure if many know or not, but, Tribe merged with USA Prime. And so there's been all of this happening. So believe it or not, having 4th of July off was good, but I still kind of worked inside the facility. So I'm happy because I think it's been 2 weeks, right? Since I guess a week. We only had 1 week off.
Yeah. We just didn't do last week. Yep. I tell you.
Yeah, I guess it's because I've been tuning in from remotely and not been in studio. So maybe that's been a little bit longer, but I like being in studio better.
I always try, it's good. We go hard through that first part of the year because we have our winter workout tour. We have high school baseball, all the previews and stuff. And after the Game 7 World Series, I do need a break.
I can only imagine being there from the opening festivities to, kind of the end there. There's a lot. I mean, it's just more than just putting a camera on a field and sitting there. It's the prep. It's the stuff after. It's the editing. So big shout out to you guys and your staff, for what you guys do to put these shorts together on your YouTube channels and, your socials.
We have a lot of fun with this stuff, and another year. And I mean, this is what's crazy, Mitch. It's already July.
I guess we're going on year 2, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Having a relationship with YBM, and I'm trying to figure out where the last 2 years went.
I mean, this season just went pew.
I like the pew. Pew pew. Fantastic.
It did, man. We're sitting out at Timberland, Howell, Central, doing high school games, and now it's July 11th, and everybody's finishing up tryouts.
So we opened up in 2019, and basically there was a void in the area. I mean, we saw that there was an opportunity to have a retail store where people could come in and actually touch and feel the tangible object that they're buying.
Yeah. I feel like this is Thanos snapping his fingers, and it just like that. It's instant change, without obviously the destruction of it. But I'm like, holy cow, man! I sent my dog off for dog training, and she's been gone for 11 days, and it's like I feel like I just took her down there, and it's just like that. 11 days have gone by, and I guess this kind of stuff happens at this time of the year because it's such a busy season that, there's some lack of sleep. It's a lot of long days. The days are long in general. It gets dark at 9 o'clock now. So, maybe you're still hanging out outside or whatever, but the conversations don't stop. It starts at 6, 7 o'clock in the morning, and it goes on till midnight because you're making decisions on how to better your club or your teams, and you're using your staff and trying to make decisions. So it's a long couple of weeks in the heart of July. The dog days of summer. We talked about it before. Maybe it's just not for the athletes. It's also for its coaching staffs and the people involved in baseball, umpires, everybody.
Absolutely. And real quick, I want to do this. We're going to be out at historic, as you can see in the screen here, historic ABC Ballpark. And the big dog over there, he's familiar with ABC Ballpark. You've hit a few bombs out of that park, haven't you, bro?
I've hit that's where I grew up playing baseball. So anytime I get a chance to talk about ABC, the experiences up there have been Fantastic. One of my favorite parks. It's old. It definitely needs some updates up there, but some of the commissioners are still the same, and some of the faces that got to watch me grow up playing baseball, I get to come back and see it on different levels, and I love it. I miss the square pizzas. I miss the ice cream and the lemonade slushies that they used to have up there. But man, ABC Ballpark, Athletic Boys Club in St. Anne, what a great place to grow up and play baseball. There's some history there. I don't know if you know this or not, but Mark McGuire played in that park. Team USA came here in the mid '80s. They did an exhibition there. So I hit a home run in the same field that Mark McGuire hit one over. Obviously was not the same time frame. I was 5 years old when he came through and did this. But I got that iconic 85 Topps card that's signed, that's in his Team USA uniform, because he come back when he came back to St. Louis. I had actually mentioned something. There's pictures up there of him, and he hit that baseball over Geraldine into somebody else's house. So, but yeah, great history. I mean, tornadoes have come through there, tore that park apart. They used to have boxing, wrestling, football, soccer, and now it's just kind of strictly your baseball and softball complex and a whole lot of bingo.
A whole lot of bingo. I love that. Well,
it just, sports in general have got to cost so much. It used to be a very big football program back when I was in middle school, and I mean, just the cost of doing business in football is different, and they couldn't sustain. So it's a bummer to lose boxing because of insurance purposes and things like that, because it was literally a boys' club.
Well, but Mitch, this is something I think we talk about quite a bit. Just the local associations, the local community, the local baseball, club baseball, good, bad, and different, whether you like it or dislike it. There is that one thing that has been taken away from the local community in that respect. So some of these local ballparks, these local associations have kind of, they're not. I remember the SPAA. That's what my son played when we first started. He was playing at St. Peter's Athletic Association. I think the OCAC is still over here going. I think the SPAA is still going. But some of these youth organizations are not there. And I believe, and I wish we would do this, I think there's a way to bring this back community-wise with the clubs. I think we need to bring back some community with this, Mitch. How come we can't take and put some of these teams and the associations, get some leagues back? I love tournament baseball, I think, but let's get some balance. We always seem to swing one way or the other, and we end up, and here we have this great ballpark. We have this lot of history there, and it just kind of is withering away.
Yeah, I think that could be demographics in the recreational side of things. There is still recreational ball being played. That's Monday through Thursday, Friday through Sunday is your tournament stuff. But really, ABC baseball does not have a big presence or stranglehold on baseball. It is really driven by the softball community. ABC still draws a lot there. And, when I talk about demographics in general for ABC, there's not a lot of folks in North County playing baseball. I don't know if it's cost, because obviously there's some monetary issues in the sport, but there's just not a lot, especially like the 13 on up. There's still T-ball there. There's still 8, 9, 10, 11U that play there. But after that, it seems to really fall apart in almost a lot of associations, even OCAC. It doesn't have a high school presence. I don't know that Chesterfield has a high school presence. I know up until about 14U, I know that Chesterfield and OCAC are kind of the places to go. That's some food for thought. We always talk about things on this show to find solutions, versus trying to create just additional problems. And so, I do know that some of these, we have, we've grown in our program, and several of our teams are playing in leagues. They're using them for other opportunities, getting players other positions. They use it as a secondary practice or whatever the purpose is that they see fit. Some do it because they're playing in competitive leagues, so they keep the competitive balance going between, Tuesday and Wednesday and then the weekends, trying to keep a schedule like what you might see in high school or college or something, your midweeks to your weekend games. But I don't know. That's something that I would like to see the rec league really become a prominent place again, because I think people perceive rec as being bad, talent wise. Mm-hmm. And realistically, we don't have that many really good players to need all of these teams. We do have some teams that are not great. We put them in positions to play in the levels that they need to be playing in, which might be in these rec leagues. However, your AA kids, they need more time to develop, maybe, to get to that next level. So why can't we put them in the AA to make OCAC or Chesterfield even more competitive?
Right.
The things behind, as you get older in the AAA levels, I think practice matters more at the older levels than maybe even games.
These are things that as we're getting more established in the community, we're talking with people. These are things that I honestly think about, and I hope to, as we move forward, talking to different communities, how do you create a buzz for a league, a county? St. Charles County has SPAA, has OCAC. There's the St. Charles, this, that, whatever the case may be, okay? Going out in the different areas, and you play your league and you have a league champion. How do we not have, YBM set up for a 3-game championship series for 10U across, these different age groups in these leagues? That why can't we do that? I think that to me is fun when you talk about the local community. How are you bringing the community together in that respect, rather than, I do it. Game 7, they do a great job. There's guys there. How can we create these opportunities within this to create more in that local community that way? I think there's so many things that, we can consider to bring that back. How are you competing? How are you learning? Because this as well as I do, Mitch, a lot of these kids, when they get up, they're going to do the same thing in high school. It's a similar thought process, right? And you're going to play against those same guys in high school. Maybe you're playing with one of the guys now that you're going to play against in high school, and that's kind of the way that works, right?
I'm not sure if this is the route you were taking, but this is how I perceived it. When I grew up playing, there was ABC All-Stars. You had your league that you played in. We had Batum ball, midgets, juvenile, and then I think you had your high school age group was kind of how divisions were at the rec league there. I think we talked about that one of the very first times we were ever on this show, how it was different on classifications. You had Juvie 1, Juvie 2, and then whatever. Right. But I remember at times they tried to get creative to where they took like your all-star game, right? So you got nominated for your all-star, but then we had this series of years for a couple years, and I don't know why it didn't. Maybe it didn't take off. At this time, it's not something I'm paying attention to as I am now. But talk about community. The ABC area took its best group of like 14 kids or whatever it was. It might have been bigger than that. It might have been a roster size of 16 kids, and we went and played the 16 best kids from Weehop, Ferguson, Florissant, and we had played these little things, and it was like a tournament inside of itself in that rec league, and I thought that was always pretty fun. And is there a reason that, like, if you have OCAC, maybe it's a bragging rights fun thing, you have an all-star game there, an all-star game at SPA and our New Horizons, and you say, hey, let's get together.
I like all-star teams, and that's fun stuff. I'm talking about a team. That team has went 10-2 in that season. They're the 11U champion of the OCAC in that division, and they're entered into the World Series in St. Charles, in the YBM World Series, to face off against the 10U team from the St. Peter's Athletic or the St. Charles or the Wentzville, whatever the case may be, and we create this opportunity from that.
I hope that it's 11U versus 11U, not 11 versus 10. But
yeah, so
I'm just.
You know what I mean? I do. I think all-star guys, that's great, that's fantastic, but you're playing in a league. You're learning how to compete in that respect. I think tournament baseball is great and it's fantastic, and I love it when we go out, and I support it. But I think there's some opportunities to have some fun within the communities that we can create some opportunities. I remember, you had rivals when we had our teams. We were playing in the league, and then we'd see a team at a tournament. We'd play a tournament, and we'd see one of those teams. We'd want to beat them there, and because they beat us in the league that week, and you're like, oh, we got to get them back, and you dudes, right? And I think bringing up a little bit of rivalry and that kind of thing, I think it's fun.
Yeah, I think that's where we miss in today's baseball, is that we don't really have true rivalries. I will tell you, there's teams that when I go out on the field, I want to beat, but that's because of a ego thing or a dislike for a particular way that they care about baseball. That's a personal thing. But I don't know that we have a rivalry group. I know that last year we had, Basta was one of those teams that was really, really good, and we always seen them in the finals, or, they were always competing at the same AA level. So I think I made it a rivalry because I wanted to compete with his group, and I think I got my guys to want to compete against that team. They beat us 22-0 the first time out. Then we played them much better after that. And so why are the Cubs such a rivalry? Why were the Mets why do we have nicknames for the Mets, calling them pond scum if it wasn't such a big deal in the 80s? We don't have that, I think, in youth sports, and I think it's okay. You have it in high school sports, right?
Yes. But and this is where I want to, I understand, professional level, pond scum. I don't want any kids calling their rivals pond scum or nothing like that. But I think it's some of those life lessons that we have to take into this, learning how to compete. You're going to compete at a job. You're going to compete within society in that respect to create opportunities for yourself while respecting the person across from you. Learning how to respect the team that you want to pound. You respect your opponent, that rivalry, and I'm going to compete as hard as I can, but you do it in the right way. And you go out and I'm going to beat you, and we came here to beat you. But that doesn't mean you lose respect for the person. And I think these are the things that we've kind of lost, and I think we've lost that a little bit in professional level, and in those respects. At the professional level, there's people that just don't like each other, and that's a whole different world. But if we create these opportunities to again, another teaching moment, how do you compete at a high level and take the emphasis off the individual? I see so many of these. I understand it's prone to happen, but I see so many of these kids throwing equipment, coming off the field crying because they struck out. Wait, no, how are we changing this culture again and creating opportunities to learn how to compete? So you struck out. That's baseball. You're going to strike out again. You may strike out the next time you face because that kid on the mound is better than you. So how are you going to compete to get better so he doesn't strike you out? We don't talk that way. And I think that's a harsh thing. I know people go, oh, that's so harsh. No, it's reality. I watched an all-star game last night, the St. Louis Metro Collegiate League, and shout out to Joel Anderson. He invited me out to call the game for the St. Louis sports production live stream. I'm watching these kids. There were just pitchers that were better than other guys, and there were then some hitters that were better than the pitchers. I mean, that's kind of the way it is. So that's the back and forth, right? If you're a hitter, you got to compete to be better than that pitcher, and that pitcher is wanting to compete to be better than that hitter. That's the point. That doesn't mean I don't respect the guy at the plate. I know he can hit. So I've got to raise my ability to overcome his ability to hit the pitch that I don't want him to. And this is the game. That's at the very base level. How are we doing that and starting at that youth level?
Man, I've been smiling for the last 2 minutes that you've been talking, because these are things that I talk about all the time. I've played with guys I have not liked. I've worked with people I have not liked. I have people in my facility I don't like, but I have to have respect, because they are whether I don't like their personality is one thing, but they are trying to do something, right? And so our young people, I say some things on the field to my team that's probably not liked in today's soft world. I don't want my athletes, I talk about the respect for even just the game, let alone what's across the diamond for us. I see young people throwing helmets like you talked about, can't stand it. The body language, can't stand it. Why can't someone just be better than you and you make the adjustment to be better than them next time? We've got into this thing where we want to put all this eye black on our face. We want to wear oven mitts on 3 hands and a toe. Obviously being stupid here, but I can't understand for the life of me why we wear sliding mitts, but we slide into a bag with the other opposite hand. It's to look cool. We have chains that go all the way around our necks. We got armbands that go all the way up our wrist. And I try to think about why we have to be so cool, right? We want to be like a college athlete because they allow this stuff. Well, how come you don't have the mentality of failure when you see a college athlete? All you see is the drip, the cool stuff, right? But when Paul Steens goes up and gives up a home run, you don't see him pouting. You don't see Paul Steens, when the defense doesn't make a play behind him, go out and give throw his hands up at his teammates. You don't see him cussing his teammates out. He might think that, but he knows he just gave up a home run. He knows he just walked a kid in the last inning that, because of a tough play that scored. He knows that he had to walk. And when you talk about his post-game interview, he's talking about the walk that led to the winning run scoring. I mean, I'm only using him. Obviously, he only gave up less than 2 runs a game, but, a number 1 pick. But I'm just saying, if we're trying to idolize the next level, we need to idolize their mentality, and then we'll start to understand why they get to wear the stuff that they get to wear. Well, you want to have a fat gold chain? Then go do what the guy did to earn that fat gold chain.
Well, but I want to stay away from the gold chain because I don't care about that.
Well, because you wear a gold chain.
Well, it's not gold. It's something. I don't know. My wife bought it for me. I don't even know what metal it is. I just wear it because of my wife. It
don't matter. I'm just being ornery because I just want to see our youth have respect for the game.
Well, but that's what I mean.
And total.
So as a youth player, right? You're hitting, a $159. You're not fast enough to steal bases, and you got the oven mitt on. What for? Earn it. We don't put ourselves in the place to earn it. I know that these things are hard for people, and we don't. nobody wants to face these things or put these things in a situation because, as I've said on numerous occasions here, we believe we're paying to play. No, you're not. You're not paying to play. You're paying to be part of the club and for the development that comes along with that club. You earn playing time. We have to change the narrative. You got to earn your playing time. Earn the oven mitt, man. Go out and steal 20 bases. Right?
Man.
Earn the arm. You know, you got the sleeve on. Earn it. You know, if you go, you want a sleeve? I got one for you. It's cool. As a coach, I got about 4 or 5 of them here. Who wants to earn it? Somebody throw somebody out at the plate. Make 5 defensive plays that are uncommon. Let's set a bar to, and even at the double A, even at the rec, whatever the level is, let's set some incentive to things and bring back an opportunity to achieve.
Man, can you imagine the production and life when they become adults? Because they had to deal with these things and earn something as youth. It's funny that as parents, and by no means am I questioning parenting at all, but our what do we want out of our kids in our own household? The grades, you know, the homework, the dishes, the cutting the grass. Like, in order to get your Jordans, you got to cut the grass. Well, just because you paid $3,000 to go play for a club doesn't mean that you need to start every game. What if you're not good enough? You are too busy complaining about lack of playing time, but yet you are not going to the gym and working out.
I'm gonna give a case in point, and this is exactly because we take this mentality of getting the kids, you know, playing. We can't have more than this because, you know, my kid needs to play too. All right. We're at the World Series, and it was a Gators team. Steve Collier, good little squad. I think it was 12U that day we were following. Well, they were already down a player, and then the starting pitcher for that game, his elbow popped on the mound. Bless his heart. I felt so bad for the young man. But he goes to the hospital. He comes back to the ballpark at his arm sling with his teammates. I was like, big time kudos to that young man. Gary, I think
that's culture.
Yeah, Carter Gary, I think it was his name. Shout out to him. But then, not only that, then a young man, one of their other players, he got hit in the hand. And his finger, I don't know if it was broke, but it sure didn't look good. Couldn't hardly swing bat. The whole next game, he's bunting because they ended up with 9. And we always go, well, you know, 10, maybe 11. No, put 13 kids. You don't know. If you're playing at a high level, you're playing, injuries happen, things happen. You don't, and, you know, you may not have a year where you have 13 kids and you don't have any injuries. Fantastic. Compete. Put kids in position. I think we've gone away from that competitive thought process. And if a parent says, hey, look, you know, no, my kid should play, then maybe we ought to start looking at that and going, no, you know, you want to be part of the club, this is what it is. But everybody then has to compete for a job. Everybody has to compete for the playing time. And, you know, we'll if you're not hitting as well as the next guy, maybe that's just where it is, and maybe you need to take a step back as a player and continue to develop, maybe go to a different team, maybe you take a step down and continue to grow. We don't want to do that, though. You know, guys get sent back down to AA, AAA. Jordan Walker gets up, right? They sent him back down for a short time because they wanted him to work on a couple things. He's back up. That happens in the major leagues. We don't even consider that thought process in youth baseball, and I'm not quite sure why. We're not looking at the development of talent. We're looking at he plays. Well, not when he's making 6 errors in a game. I mean, we need to work on our fielding more, and maybe he needs to, because we're playing at a level that's a little bit above his ability. Oh my gosh, we can't say that. Yes, we can, and we need to recognize that more. And I would say to people, I said this to my kids. I've said this to I've had a long career in working, and I've managed groups of 30 to 50 people at one time, hiring. Dude, I've been there. I've done all this. If the shoe don't fit, don't put it on. So if this isn't part, you can't say that, Brian. Yes, I can. And if the shoe don't fit, don't worry about it. Then just keep doing what you're doing and do it well. If you're griping and complaining, if the shoe, if it's too tight, maybe you ought to think about what you're doing. And I think these are things that we have to recognize in youth sports a little bit more and really take a hard look at it.
I'd like to add to that just a little bit in saying things like what I've noticed between youth baseball in the last couple of years, again, me being back in baseball, I am finding that at the high school level, things start to change mentally. This is for families and players. I have kids now that will come to me and say, Coach, I only want to have a chance to compete. If I'm not better than the guy in front of me, the rest is up to me. They didn't have this conversation with me a year ago. It was very different. We're going from 14U to 15U, then now 16U. So I've had 2 years under my belt with these kids. I had a young man that says, I just want to have the opportunity to compete. If I'm not better than him, then I have to make the decisions, whether I stay or go to a lesser level, or I continue to try to compete and get better where we're at. That's a role player's job, right? That is somebody that is identified and understand who they are and what they are. I also, in the same light, have kids that sometimes are still thinking about, I am actually better than, what the coach thinks I am, but yet the coach never plays me. Well, coaches don't just play kids who are not better than you. I can't for the life of me understand why I wouldn't want to play my best 9 guys every time. I do give my guys that are on the back end of the roster, I give them obviously playing time because they deserve it, because we do have kids that work hard. And when you work hard, you need to be rewarded for your work ethic. It just doesn't mean you get rewarded every game. And so for me, it's like, why can't we see this? The coach is the one making the decision. So why aren't you doing whatever you need to do to make that coach put you in the game? Not compared to little Johnny that's next to you or that plays the same position. You need to make sure that you do everything that the coach wants you to do to get the reps. If that means that you're behind, go to the gym, get your extra reps in, stop worrying about, I get to practice twice a week and somehow you're going to get better. It doesn't work that way. You go to work every single day for 40 hours. Day one's very different than year 4. You are so much better in year four selling mortgages than you are the day one that you are selling houses than on day one.
Yep.
Cars, it doesn't matter. Insurance.
If you're not Mitch, they will find somebody else to do it.
That's how it works in college. What do you go your freshman year, you don't get playing time. Dylan Cruz is a perfect example, doesn't play. Or Langford, the kid that was drafted by Florida, number 4 overall, didn't play but 4 at-bats his freshman year and hit 3 of the longest home runs or 4 of the longest home runs in men's college World Series history. He's a number 4 draft pick, going to get paid millions of dollars, didn't play as a freshman. That next year, they brought somebody on that was supposed to be better than Langford. That's what college coaches do. That's what high school coaches want. That's what club coaches try to get. We are trying to make our teams better. So if you were my number 6 player on my current roster, I'm trying to find someone that makes you the number 8 player on that roster, because I want to get better. That is what the game is supposed to be at the levels that these people think they're chasing.
Well, wait a minute. Stop. Hold on. Are you really? That's what tryouts are for?
Well, I don't know. I coached college ball for a few years, and so that's what we did every year when we were recruiting. You cannot get better if you don't recruit better players every single year.
And if you're the sixth guy and you know that guy was brought in at your place, then what are you doing to stay number 6 or get to number 5?
Hey, bingo. Do you always want to be just the line employee, or do you ever want to be the manager of that place? One of the best things that ever happened to me when I was young, and I'm not talking baseball at all. This is work. This is life. He told me this is where I think this changed for me just in some of my mindsets. He goes, my goal is to train you to take my job, because he wants to take somebody else's job, and then somebody else wants to take a job. So he told me he wanted to give me all the information and all the tools to progress in my career. And that's what I want out of these guys, is to compete. I had to compete against other people that, if he was employing, or if he was managing 12 people, only one of those persons are going to take that guy's job. I give you the tools. I'm giving the player the tools. If you want the job, you need to take the job.
And you need to take the tools you've been given and improve yourself within that structure to be able to use the tools as they were given to you for that express purpose. That's the way it will. That's the way it works. That's the way it will always work. Just saying.
Yeah, because real world is a heck of a lot different than youth baseball.
Mitch, Saturday, August 19th, at historic ABC Ballpark, 3rd annual Cops versus Kids Home Run Derby. You got a 14U kid you want to get in this, Mitch?
So we're going to have several. So we had a nice little 14U tryout. So once this gets settled, I am going to do my best to get some of these kids to show up at ABC Ballpark, especially when several of those kids are from North County.
We love that. I'll catch up with you. But Saturday, August 19th, 3rd annual Cops versus Kids Home Run Derby. We're going to be out. It's a lot of fun. Parade, prizes, home runs. St. Louis Youth Sports Outreach puts this on, not because they're trying to raise money or make money or do anything that way. This is about supporting those officers in our communities that are doing the job to work to keep us safe. That's what this is about. Billy and those guys, he knows a lot of the police officers. I've sat in these meetings, Game 7 involved. We're going to be out there. We got 10. We got 2 girls, 8 guys. We only have 8 guys. We only have 8 spots. So if you're going to get in, it's filling up. So there you go, Mitch. You got to get him in there quick, bro.
No, I'll text. I'll message. I'll message Earl and Jamal and see if they can't get a couple of their boys out on that field.
I talked to Jamal. We got to get Jamal. I said, man, we need a couple of your dudes, bro. Let's bring it. And especially, like you said, Earl Green up there, it's his neck of the woods. Get them guys into this. And, and the thing about it is, there's been some pretty good alumni. Carson Ramos has been involved. Cooper DeManuel been in there. Last year, I'm trying to remember, and it's killing me. Billy's son, Austin, won the first one, and last year it was a GBA, a kid from the Gators. I'm sorry, it escapes me, and I should have looked before, right?
Yeah, I know who you're talking about, and I'm having my own brain fart. I didn't see the one last year, but obviously it was all over social media, and it's such a great event. Before it's on my mind. I know you're talking about this, trying to figure out the young man's name. Do you have any links or signups that you can? Okay, perfect.
And we'll have the link is right there in the bottom of the screen right here to sign up. We have it at YBM at youthbaseballmidwest.com/youth baseball, and you go there. There's a link right at the top. You can fill that information out, and it comes right to me. That gets you in there. We're going to take those 8. If we got more than that, we'll see. We'll, maybe have some guys on standby. But we are looking at 10. We're looking to have a good time. We've hit over 650 home runs the last couple of years. It's 200-foot fences. And I know that sounds for people, 14U. Listen, I was at the home run derby for Game 7 baseball. And these are 14-year-old kids. And there was one kid that hit, a 13-year-old hit 4. The 14U that won, and it was probably 250 feet. They'd moved the plate up to, I think right in front of home plate, something like it's about 250 feet, maybe. The corners were a lot less. The kid that won it hit 2 home runs. I don't care what you say. It's hard to hit a home run like that. That's why they put the fence at 200 feet, because they want the kids to enjoy the experience, hit home runs. That's what this is about. It's a fun event. Everybody's having a good time. There's going to be some booths out there, just community and people getting together. It's been great fun. We've really enjoyed it. And so, again, this year, supporting these officers. 200-foot fences, go hit some bombs.
And they have one of the best concession stands. Just saying. They have some really good nachos. Their cheese, Bridgeton BMAC, and anybody else that's watching this show, if you got an association and you guys want to put some community fun together, let's have a concession stand fight off or play, something of that nature. I love to eat. But BMAC and ABC, I think, have the 2 best concession stands in the area.
Oh, Baldwin's.
When I say this,
Baldwin's pretty good, buddy.
It's because it's old. It's got them seasoned grills. When you get them burgers and them brats and stuff rolling on there, they're good. It's just, Baldwin is good too. I forget about Baldwin at times. And obviously Chesterfield has, and I'm not talking about the items that you can get with the chicken tenders and stuff.
I don't think
but ABC's ballpark and freaking BMAC has the best cheese, nacho cheese, man.
Oh, and when they have them, they've been out, the nacho cheese fries at BMAC. That's fire right there, bro.
Yes, sir. Yes.
We're gonna have to get a tour together. We'll be contacting some folks. That's on the list. That's on the agenda for the coming year.
Are we gonna do that? Are we gonna visit concession stands?
Yeah, we're gonna take our time. I'm gonna set this up. I'm gonna talk to and we're gonna set dates. We'll probably do it through the summer. On a weeknight when we're some league games are going on. Have some fun with it, Mitch. I think it'd be a cool deal.
I actually think that's a fantastic idea. She who has the coldest drinks in town and the best cheese.
Maybe we'll just do something live, for a Tuesday night, for the show on some of these. We'll just go to the ballpark and hang out live and watch some baseball, talk baseball, and get some of these folks on.
I'm eating a hot dog and some nachos, dude. I don't know. I might have nacho cheese in my beard. You won't be able to see it because it's orange, but we'll be all right if I leave a little crumbs on the beard. No, man, that sounds actually like a blast. That's fun. It's outside the box. It gives a little bit, again, going back to what this whole thing is about anyways, which is community. It gives an idea of what it's like inside just, the employees, these mostly young kids that are working. It'd probably be pretty fun for them to get a little love on some TV and just get to, man, that's really cool. I actually like the idea.
Oh, we're going to do that this year. We're going to do that next year. So
next year,
some plans, some fun stuff. So Mitch, as always, buddy, always fun.
Do I have 5 minutes for a comment for tryout season? 3.
We'll pick that up on the next one.
But tryouts are going on so fast. Give me 3 seconds. Give me 30 seconds.
Go.
30 seconds. If you are a player and you think that you can play 55 positions on the field, choose the best one that you can compete at during tryouts. Don't think that you can pitch, catch, play first, third, outfield, and be the best. I love it that you have that mentality that you'll do whatever it takes, but try out at your best positions.
And then allow the rest to come along, right?
You can do that when you make the team.
There you go. That's good advice. I mean, that's better than hit them where they ain't. And so we're just gonna end on that.
Throw strikes, Brian. That's our tips for pitchers is throw strikes. I'm sitting on my bucket right now telling you to throw strikes. Hey, get a base hit, Brian.
I'll do that.
I did that to my pitchers all weekend this weekend to drive them crazy. I was sitting on dugout. I looked out there and throw one ball out of 5 pitches, and I go, "Hey man, you need to throw strikes if you want to get through this game." And I'd say that just randomly throughout the day, and it's just an ongoing thing because that's the obvious, right?
Obvious, exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
Hey, get a hit here, please. You got 2 strikes and you're down with a great pitcher on a mound. Oh, I love it. So that's what we're going with today. We're going with the Captain Obvious. Pitchers, you throw strikes. You hitters hit singles. Every at bat.
Thanks, folks, for tuning in. We do appreciate it. I love it, Mitch. I love it. Hey, everybody, thanks for tuning in. Hit the subscribe button while you're here. Hit that dinger next to it because that's what we do around here. Double D's. Dingers
Double D's.
So, Mitch, as always, thanks. Everybody, have a great day in the Lord. We will see you next time.